Unscripted with Deborah and Lalu.
Oh, yes.
So today we chose to talk about culture.
Culture.
Yeah, we both come from very different backgrounds, very different cultures, and we live in a state where you meet people from all over
the world.
So the reason we chose this topic, because it is very important, as we both have seen how it impacts your life,
right,
your relationships, and your friendships, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, Deborah, we talk a lot about this, but I would like to talk it on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more about the culture where you come from. So we know you're half Rwandese and half Kenyan. So
yeah.
There's two in one, you know?
I
That's amazing. Even though it's both, Africa, there's still,
and they're totally different because when it comes to Kenya, it's more of, how can I say? It's more of love.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to Rwanda, it's more of respect.
Yeah.
Which I do believe both come in together.
Yeah.
But culture is one unique thing that I appreciate about, because being from two different countries, you tend to at least say I'm from one and you do what Rwandese do, and if you're from Kenya, you do what the Kenyans do. So yeah, how about Kosovo?
So for you is like a rich, a rich investment in you.
Yes.
Because you're from both different cultures, so you take both, like my kids are, from two different cultures. So that's why I'm asking, because it's very I have small kids, so it's very interesting meeting someone who in the family, they come from two different parents from different cultures. And, we'll talk about it later a little bit, how it helped you shape, your life and your character. So me, I'm from Kosovo. Both of my parents are from Kosovo. So, we always have to do the
Albanian.
Red and black, baby. And we have very interesting culture. And, because of the war that happened, people think that we're still a war zone and everything, but you have to visit Kosovo to see how beautiful it is. And
You've shown me a lot of videos, and I'm like, ooh.
And imagine in 20-something years to rebuild the entire state in that way, it's something very, crazy. Anyway, the culture I come from, it's very, respect is big. Honor is big. So there's a lot of things that make it very interesting and special to me. And I think it has its own values that you take from, and when you go into the world, you are slightly different person.
Right. And
I'm sure anybody of you who have met an Albanian or Albanian from Kosovo knows what I mean, So, let's dive into the family, Tell me more about how family oriented is, Rwandese and Kenyan culture and,
Right. So for the Rwandese, it's more of what we were talking about, the respect. And I had to appreciate both of them, because at the end of the day, I cannot just say I'm Kenyan, even though I'm born in Kenya.
Yeah.
Since my mom is Rwandese, I have to respect that and say I'm half and half. But where I feel the difference is when it comes to the language, when it comes to how they operate. And of course, you being in the war in Kosovo, it kind of changes you. So in Rwanda had the genocide that happened in 1993. And I think that really shifted a lot of things. So Kenya Kenya has been in moments where there was a lot of loss of lives, but not as much as how Rwanda is. And Rwanda had to rebuild
everything
from scratch. So from 1993 till now, they built everything because everything was on the ground. And one thing I have to point out about Rwanda is that it's the number one most cleanest country in Africa, which I'm proud of.
That's good.
You
That's
know?
really good.
And every month they have set aside a day just to clean. From the roads to your house, it's just mandatory.
Oh, that's so good. It's like you can see it as a cleansing day.
Yeah,
for
like
the
a
streets and the
cleansing
house
day.
and yourself. That's really good. You know, like for us, when it comes to family and friends and everything, we lived by a book called Kanun. You know,
Kanun.
Yeah.
What's that?
So it's basically a book which shows with the rules how we're supposed to live as people, you know, and it is a very interesting book. It's like it's where the line for an eye comes, blood for blood, you know, a tooth for a tooth. Basically, like if somebody kills somebody of your family, you go, you know, take somebody from their family, and it goes back and forth. And back in the day, a lot of families like, how you say, disappeared because of, you know, like killing each other until the last person was standing. And for us, where I want to go to with this, it's like, let's say you come a guest in my home, right? For us, you're the god.
Oh,
so
yes.
We host you in a way that you would not understand or believe. So our things are your things. Our food is your food. Now, whatever your wish, it's our command basically to bring it to you because you're a guest. So we have to, you know, in our house, you're, you know, big deal. So while you're in our house, we also protect you.
Right.
So if back in the day, if a guest was in your house and was attacked, then it's basically like attacking a person of your family. So it was the same thing. So now, in nowadays, the respect is there. Of course, the old ways are not there anymore. You know, it's modernized and, you know, things have changed. But basically, the respect and culture about the guest is still there. You know, we still host the guest the same way. And it's the same, you know, in the family. Like, for us, it's very important. We're very family oriented.
That's good. Reminds me about Africa. Africa is all about family.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear.
Yeah, so that's how we see it, you know, it doesn't end at 18, it doesn't end at 20, it doesn't end
continues.
at 8. So it continues, you know, for us, it's like, I'm 31 and I talk to my parents every day and I go see them all the time and, you know, whatever goes with them, it's with me too, or like vice versa. If I need something, they're always there. And the same goes with a sibling or your cousin or, you know, or your friend. So it's very family-oriented culture, and being raised like that, it just makes you more of a people person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gets you out of that comfort zone of being too comfortable.
Yeah.
So when you were talking about Kosovo, it hit home for me to speak about the tribes back home. So in Rwanda, you have the Tutsi, Hutu, and the Twa. And then in Kenya, we have like 47 tribes, if I'm not wrong. I think it's 47 tribes.
That's a lot.
Huge number.
Yeah.
But learning all those different characters, because people tend to know you based on your surname, right? So my surname is Mboya in Kenya. That's from the Luo tribe, but other tribes have taken up that name.
Yeah.
So, but of course there is some politics into that because one thing I really want to fight for to change is to have this mentality of you're from this tribe, then we don't get along.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, which shouldn't be the case.
It's interesting because I think around Kenya, it's still with old days when it comes to tribes. So they still go with the rules and everything, and they maintain that. And I don't think it's particularly a bad thing because where I'm from, we had tribes too. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, the last names like Krasniqi, Goshi, that and this, and then they were tribes. So then the world moved, the years gone by, so people like modernized and, you know, now you just have a last name and that's my cousin and, you know, so things have shifted. But to me, I think sticking to who you are is very important.
Right.
And I've seen my country move forward very fast. Like I remember back in the day how our culture was and how tight and patriotic we were towards, Albania. And now things have shifted a lot, and I would personally love it if people, especially young generation, would connect with their roots more and keep their culture more awake.
Right.
Because the fear is that the more generation gets detached, the more our ways and culture goes away, and then it's all westernized, and it's all, cultures like, I don't know, things taken from different places, and, then you don't see your culture anymore. It's just things that, bits and pieces from the world that people brought, and they lost their roots, right?
Right.
So when you talk about Kenya having tribes and how it works, it's actually not a bad thing to me, because they're still keeping their culture. They still keeping tight to their roots.
Which I agree to a certain extent, but the only issue is that when it comes to now the politics, it becomes dirty, girl. It becomes really dirty.
I mean, that's the case everywhere.
Right? It's pretty much everywhere. I think people can relate to that. And then the thing now, when it comes to Rwanda, after the genocide, one thing that Kagame, who's the president right now, did was he didn't want people to be known as that tribe.
Oh, okay.
So now you just are Rwandan.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Okay. Because
it kind of helps those people who went through the genocide to reevaluate themselves. But at the same time, your tribe is who you are.
Yes, you can adjust as you go, but you don't forget who you are and where you come from. For me, it is very important. When you're young, when you're in those young years,
right?
You're always like this need to be cool and
independent
and all that. Then you start doing things that Europe does, US does, that and this, and then so you can look cool in front of the friends. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's good to know all the cultures.
Right.
We will talk about that later, but right now I'm talking about how important it is for you to keep your own culture alive, because each has something important to bring to the table. And it doesn't matter where you live. You may live in the States, you may live in Europe somewhere, in Middle East, like we are now, and you can live anywhere, but when you bring your own culture to the table and you bring your own and the other bring their own, you learn something about each other. And then it's good, it's good to get connected with different stuff. And then imagine if you lose roots about who you are, and then you sit in a table with full different cultures, and then you get asked where you're from, what is your roots, and what makes your culture special, and then you don't know what to say. And that's for me, even nowadays, people having identity crisis.
Oh yeah.
They don't understand where they are from. They don't know where they belong. And then I think it's a major issue when it comes to young people, because they don't recognize themselves, in meaning they don't know what to identify as with culture. You know? So this is why I always say, as a parent, it's very important, because for us that we're expats, we raise our kids in different states, right? So it's very important as a parent for you to show that culture, to your children.
Right.
So it passes on and on, So
because if you stop, then they lose the identity, like you said. And it's actually mostly when it comes to mixed kids, right?
Yeah.
Whereby, for example, for you, where your husband is from the DC and you're from Kosovo. So if you guys don't create that communication with them, they might end up leaning more towards maybe being an American, because your husband is half American.
Yeah. So my husband is originally from Dominican Republic, was born and raised in
DR. I'm sorry, I said DC. Okay.
That's okay. So he was born in Brooklyn and then raised in Florida. So he's actually an American, but originally from Dominican Republic. And this is why I always encourage him also to learn about his roots more, who he is and where he comes from, his culture.
Right.
And the same with me. Like, I'm from Kosovo, but lived in the States, and now we live in Qatar, and our kids are mixed. So it's a very interesting mix.
And they're so pretty.
But, you know, like, every time we teach our kids something, when it comes, you know, to values, or I don't know, things that you teach kids at that age, where it comes to cross how you raise your kids culturally from your side. So the kids are with mother most of the time, traditionally, you know, you're the default parent, and then not all the time, but, you know, in most cases, in most families. And in ours, I'm taking care of the kids more than my husband because he's working, right? So when they're all the time with me, I will raise them the way my parents raised me. So which, again, goes back to the culture, right? And then I was encourage my husband to do the same whenever he's with them, to show them his side, because I want them to be raised with knowing who they are,
Right.
where they come from,
Right.
their identity, so they don't have an identity crisis at teenage years, you know. So it's really important to not let that go, because I know it's always like not talked about a lot, but it makes a really big deal of who you are as a person and what you believe in.
I do remember back in the day when your grandparents would pretty much be the ones to teach you everything, right?
Yeah.
So I do remember my grandma from my dad's side used to like teach us how to count in her language, and it was that type of unity and connection that I still crave until now, because she passed on. But still, culture from your grandparents is a different view from you, because they're in a different generation compared to their generation.
Yeah.
And the stories they would tell you and stuff. So
I think in each culture, back in the days, I think it was similar to what the people I've met and the stories I've heard.
Right.
It's you know, similar everywhere. The values of family, the values of, you know, how you're saying, like the grandparents talking to their kids, to their, you know, younger generation, and then, you know, living together and just family oriented everything. And then the more life changed, the more modern life became.
Right.
People started, like, you know, spacing out and, you know, losing roots and losing touch and all of that. And for me, it is very important to keep, you know, I always say a thing. I even told my friends and my family, like, it's funny because I was talking about how you want to look cool when you're young.
Yeah.
So you're singing songs from, you know, different countries, and you're putting clothes on that are different, you know, culture, and you're just trying to show off to everybody. And then you grow up, right? And then you become, like, if you become an expat, like we are, and then you become very patriotic.
That is so true.
You know, you go back and listening to the music
That is so true.
where you're from, you know, your culture, and then you want to wear the clothes, like traditional clothes, and you want to do everything traditional way, no matter how lame that looks, you know, or looked to you before, because
now it's all...
Because now you miss it.
Yeah.
You know, the nostalgia, you're far from your home and family and your land, so you become more patriotic. So now I understand all the families who lived abroad. And then when I was young, you know, and they would come home during the summer. We have this thing that everybody comes home during the summer. Everybody who lives like in Europe or wherever in the world, during the summer, they always come back home. So our country becomes like alive 24/7. There's no sleep. There's no, like, it's basically a big
party house.
Yeah, the whole country. So it's crazy to see it. It's beautiful to see it. And it's the same way during the holidays in the winter, but during the summer it's more, you know, more noticeable because of, you know, everybody's outside basically. And I used to joke about it. I'm like, oh, these people come and then they're acting like, oh, patriotic, Kosovo, you know. I'm like, if it's that nice, then come and live here, right? But then
the tables turn.
God puts you in their shoes, and now you're like, oh,
yeah.
Okay. So this is why I think it's very important to like maintain and raise your kids that way, to love their culture, to love who they are. You know, in every culture there's, you know, things,
very unique things that no one would ever know. And like, as we talk about in this past few months, I've learned a lot about Kosovo because, girl, I never knew
I have people tell me like,
what Kosovo is until I met you.
yeah.
So that's an added advantage being in Doha, right? Because you will meet people who you never thought you'll ever meet.
Yeah, and I've seen like, so when I send my kids to nursery, right? And then Rosa's class, example, and they're like 25 kids, and then maybe 2 of them are from the same place. Like everybody's like from different colors and states and culture, and like it's so mixed. I love it because imagine to be raised in a class, in a school system, in a state where nobody is the same, and it just gives them the advantage of knowing different cultures, respecting different cultures, loving different cultures. So it's a very big advantage for life, you know. It's different when you get raised, like you say, caged in one culture, and then you don't see other people, and then you're released to the world, and then let's say life sends you somewhere else, and it's so hard to adapt.
Or when actually other people come to your country, like for like tour, and you're looking at this person and you're like, you speak different. Your mannerisms are different, but not knowing.
Yeah. So as Kosovo, we've met, you know, a lot of people came after war for visitation, and like, you know, it became like a touristic like place, and we met a lot of people. Like I worked since I was small, because I was working and volunteering since I was very young into this documentary festival, you know, company, and I met a lot of guests from Europe, from different countries, and you know, like working with those people, seeing that, you know, different cultures, being raised with always, how you say it, like how you can put it, with basically different, you know, from where you are, different cultures. And then even with that, when I moved, it was like a shock. Like it takes culture shock. It takes a lot for you to adjust, because let's say in our culture we're extremely friendly. We are very...
Girl, you can say that again.
Yeah. We are very, how you say, open to people, like invite people, cook for them, and like we're just out there all the time. And we go over the board. And then we also are very honest. Like most of us are really honest, so we are who we are, and that's it, you know. I'm talking for the whole majority of people and culture. And then, when I moved to the States, I met a lot of different people. And then for me, it was, you know, a little bit time. It took time to adjust, you know, because not everybody likes to smile back or say hello. And then like, she's being a
life is happening.
Yeah.
Don't look at me.
You know, and then the same here, you know, it's the same here. You know, you meet people from all over the world, but, you know, they're different people. Some people don't like to talk. Some people don't like to, you know, make a friendship or have a conversation. And then you meet parents that, you know, I met people like my daughter would be like, hi. And then they would just look and like, okay. And then look back and move away. So I don't see that in my country. If a child says hi to you, it's all like you sit down and talk, and then, so I'm just saying like it's different everywhere. And I'm not saying that in a bad term.
No.
It's because it's different cultures. And this is why it's so important to meet people, so you know how it is, and then, you know, accept cultures.
And when you speak about moving to the US, I went to Netherlands, and I was so used to, like, as a Kenyan, we are like, if we want to tell you something, we'll tell you indirectly. We won't like tell you. Like if you're being mean, we would be like, maybe you need to change your character. We wouldn't just tell you, Lalu, stop being mean. Right? So in Netherlands, the Dutch people are so straightforward, which was a little bit culture shock for me, because I was so used to diplomacy and people's feelings, right? But when I met the Dutch people, because my mom's younger sister is married to a Dutch, and having conversations with my uncle was very interesting.
That's nice.
So, like what you were saying, learning culture and how to maneuver through that, it's good because when you get out of your norm and then you're around people who are not like you, you tend to understand why they do certain things. And Dutch people are very nice, but maybe that's how they've been raised. Maybe, I don't know.
It's their culture.
It's their culture,
So I want to connect here because nowadays we see a lot of things happening in the world, you know, in general, not just the States. It's like all over the world. I truly believe that, you know, like I said, in my culture, the guest is, you know, we serve them, we respect them, we give them everything they want. But you as a guest is your responsibility to, not obey, but like to go by the rules. Right. You say, in our country, we don't wear shoes inside the house, right? So if a guest comes from wherever, they should respect that. Take the shoes off, put slippers on, and go inside. That's just like a silly, you know, like example. But,
I don't think it's silly.
You know, there's houses who don't allow to smoke inside. Yeah. So originally, if you're a smoker, you go out and smoke your cigarette. Right. You can't like just light the cigarette inside the house and be like, you know, I don't care. I'm a guest here, so I smoke inside my house, so I'm gonna smoke here too. So I'm taking these examples because it doesn't matter what rules you have in your culture. It doesn't matter what rules you have in your place. Right. When you go as a guest somewhere, and this, I'm talking about, I took example the houses. Let's say I'm from Kosovo, went to the States, right? Now I have to respect the rules of the state. And the same we came to Qatar. And no matter how the rules are, we have to respect their rules. Yep. So I truly believe, like, if you want, when somebody comes to you, to respect who you are and where you come from and your culture, you have to respect their culture when you go to their house. Right. You know? Like, there's a lot of things going on right now, and I can't help but sit and look and say, like, in my news feed, you know, like, the whole thing between religions and, like, you know, everything that's going on in the world. And we do live in Middle East, right? Have you ever, like, had a new issue? You're a Christian, right? Right. So you don't... And I wear my cross everywhere, which people tend to wonder, well, you wear a cross in the Middle East? I'm like, yeah. Nobody cares. And people don't care. They have churches here where we can go on Saturdays and Fridays because the days are different here. Right. Regardless, you're allowed to, you know, practice. But still, it's very controlled, right? It's very controlled because this is a Middle East, you know, country. Right. They have their religion, so it's controlled. Right. Because it's in their home, so they don't allow you to do whatever you want. Of course, you can't go such preaching on the streets and saying God is good. But the thing is, if you come from this standpoint, if you go, let's say, as a Muslim into a Christian country, right, you have to respect their rules. Right. It's, you know, give and take. It's not, when you come to me, to my house, you got to respect all the rules. But when I come to you, I'm going to do whatever you want. I'm going to smoke inside. I'm going to come with the shoes inside. No, because it doesn't go that way. So this is why I always said, like, the cultures are very important where you come. You have to stand by it. You have to protect it so it doesn't, you know, extinguish. And then, you know, not know, your children don't know that the children are your children. And then it just goes like poof, and then they don't know who they are. But it's very important to protect your culture, but also respect the other person's culture. Right. When you speak about that, I remember what my dad told me, let's say 10 years ago. He said, never forget where you come from. Yeah. Which then I was like, why is he telling me this? Maybe he had already foreseen me traveling and moving abroad, but that really stayed with me. You know, never forget where you come from, because it's very easy. You know, once you like move to a place for, like, you, if you go to the States now for the past 20 years, you know, people will start thinking, oh, Lalu has become Americanized. And then you tend to forget where you come from and your culture and the way you do things. You want to be an American. This is where it comes from. You do not have to change who you are in order to respect the people you're with.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you can
Right.
keep your culture
Right.
while respecting somebody else's culture. You know, like it's simple math. Like it's literally, we learned this in elementary school, how to behave, basically. You know, it's simple math. And, but like when you put it for kids, it's so easy to explain because it's simple math. It's so easy explained. And then for the grown-ups, you have to dive in a little bit more. It's different concept, but it's still the same thing. It's still the same basics. You hold your value, but when you're with somebody else, you respect their values too.
Right.
If you want to be respected. Right? I met, like I said, it's very hard. This is why for our kids, it's so easy now because they're here and they're meeting people from all over the world. So they go from beginning shape like that to respect and see difference. And, you know, it's different. It's different, like I said, for people who are caged in their state and then they switch and it's, you know, that word to integrate, to, you know, like, going to dive in the culture and, you know, it takes a year or two for you to start understanding the place you're at. And then in the beginning, it's hard and you don't like it. And then you don't like these people because they have, no, you have to go with open mind.
Embrace it.
Bring your culture with you. Show your culture to people you meet. The values of your culture, but at the same time, accept theirs and respect their culture.
Right.
Because you're going in their home. You're going in their house. And when you're a guest, you have to respect that.
You know how they say, when you're in Rome, do what the Romans do. So it's the same thing.
So it's very sad when you think, you know, you left home and now you're in a new country and people at home don't recognize you as their own anymore. You're basically a guest in your home and a guest in the country you live in, which is a sad
It does
thing.
happen.
But for you to become part of it, you have to respect the home. You have to respect the culture. I can't stress that enough.
Right.
You know, it can be different, like, religions. It can be different cultures, different point of views, but there's always a middle that you can meet with. Debate, talk, share. I don't know. But the respect is what is the most important. And all these words and these thoughts I have and the way I think, it's because of my culture. So you see how important it is for a person. The culture, it shapes them. It shapes the way they think. It shapes the way they act in the world, and it shapes the way they see the world.
Right.
So all this came from my culture, the ways we believe in life, you know, and the things we've done. So, like I said in the beginning, it is very important and it shapes you as a person. And every culture has their own things. Yeah. But it's your right to leave out some stuff. Yeah. Like, you know, change. And embrace others. Yeah. Yeah. We changed some rules in our country. Like when it comes to Kanun, we don't go kill people anymore that killed our, like, family. We let the law deal with it. But if the law fails, well, yeah. Oh. I love it. Kidding. But we are very tough people. Oh, you know, and that's good. Then, because we're tough, our kids become tough, resilient, and you can send us anywhere in the world. And you'll survive. We'll survive. And this is why it is important to keep your culture as strong as you can, move it to generations so you don't lose who you are. One thing I like about Doha is that they're still keeping the culture, you know, and moving here, I was expecting, you know, things to be like different, but the way I loved how they would, you know, still have the different praying times, they still have that, they still wear the abayas and everything. They still respect the culture even up to this time and era. Yes. Which I like. This is what I was saying earlier. So, Qatarians, you know, if I can say that, you know, people from Qatar or like Middle East in general, they love their religion. They love their culture. And to this day, you see them protecting that. Yes. With laws. And you cannot, you know, go out and do something that you're not, you know, disrespectful towards their culture and, you know, religion, because goodbye, you know, but. One flight home. Yeah. But instead of being mad about that and be like, why they don't respect who we are and blah, blah. It's the reason they're so rich culturally, and the reason they still have that culture full on, they haven't lost one single way, is because they kept that culture strong.
And they're strong on it.
And they didn't let nobody, when I say nobody, you can come from wherever you want to touch that culture or navigate that culture in the way, like, to take things from them or like put new things in there. No, they didn't allow that.
I respect that.
So this is what I'm saying. You have to keep your culture. When I come to Chicago, I want to see the Chicago culture. Like, I want to embrace it. Or I go to Tennessee, same thing. I want to go to New Jersey, same thing. You know, Brooklyn, Florida. We have a home in Florida. I want to see the Florida culture, you know, because you have to hold on to your culture if you want that to survive.
Right.
If you go to Germany, French, Switzerland, they hold their culture really tight. And then lately, because of the new, you know, modernized ways, people are losing their seats. People are losing their...
And that's a fear everyone is having.
Yes,
you know?
Because till now it was so quiet, nobody saw it. And now that it's becoming like big, and they've seen, oh, wait a minute, you know, like, our culture is like starting to get disappearing, they're alarmed and they go crazy. So the thing is, like, you have to teach your new generations. It doesn't matter, like I said, in Kosovo, teach your kids to live by the culture. Teach your kids to listen to their music, to their movies, to support their, you know, people, language, rules, everything. And then you can, navigate new cultures, see, you know, take good things about people, you know, go visit any country, but maintain yourself, because we all come from somewhere, and it is not nice going and stealing somebody's, you know, things. You don't go in a house to your friends and then steal a book or steal a window, take it with you and go out. Okay, I'm gonna have this because I like this so much. It's so much better than my own window, so I'm taking this. This is mine now.
But there's this culture. I don't know which culture it is, but when you tell someone that you like something, let's say I like your top.
Yeah.
They give it to you.
Yeah.
I don't know which culture.
We do it in our country too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want people to have that, oh my God, you know, so you just, you know, we're friendly that way. Not everybody, but, you know, the majority of people. But the thing is, you do not give up on your own things because you think the other thing is better, because you're doing a disadvantage to yourself. Right. Because you're detaching little by piece by piece from who you are. And then what you're doing is also bringing something new to somebody's culture. Because you cannot, if you come from a different background, you can mask yourself. I can wear an African outfit right now. Will that make me African?
Actually, you kind of look like you're from Africa too. She is so unique. Sometimes even when I met you, I'm like, are you Lebanese? Are you from Morocco? Are you like...
Are you from Brazil? Are you from Spain? Like, I am a chameleon.
Yes, girl, you are.
But I'm a chameleon, you know? But that still doesn't mean I come from there. It doesn't mean, oh, you look Lebanon. Yes, I'm from Lebanon. You look Moroccan, or you look Brazilian, you know, or you say to me, I look like African. You telling that to me, and me wearing a whole attire from Africa, that doesn't make me an African.
No, it doesn't.
And I can learn the culture, I can learn the language, and I can live by it. I am still not an African. I can take the papers, and I will never be, because in my blood, in my body, there's nothing that connects me to those roots. And when it's not connected, you can respect it, you can love it, you can behave like you're it, but you're never going to be that, because it's not in your blood. So you cannot give the same way. I cannot talk about African culture, no matter how integrated I am in it, the same way as you do.
No, you can't. Yeah.
So this is what I mean. Like, you can't take something, but the issue is that the more you're taking, the more, like, then let's say, example, I'm going to France. And I'm saying, yeah, I'm African, you know, I live in Africa, you know, I'm blah, blah, blah. And then when I start talking about our culture, you know, our culture, I say wrong things because I don't know everything. And then a French person says, oh, Africans or Kenyan are like this. Wow, you know.
We live on trees and we ride lions.
Yeah, so then it's... oh my God.
Girl.
But
Do you know people think that?
I know, and that's so crazy. But this is what I mean. Like, you cannot represent a culture you don't come from.
No.
Because then you give the wrong impression, the wrong view of that culture, and then people start believing it, and then it's differently spread, and it's just infuriating because keep your own culture.
Right.
There's enough people in this world to talk about it, you know. If somebody wants to know about Kenya, I'm going to talk you to, you know, come on, talk about Kenya. It doesn't matter if I live 100 years in a country, and then my kids live in 100 years, and then their kids. I'm still not African. I'm still not French.
So this is a question.
You know,
I have to ask you. So think about this. Let's say how America was built, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was built by people coming from different cultures, but now they've become American.
Yeah.
And for example, like Australia, there were, if I'm not wrong, British people, prisoners who moved there. So does that make you forget where you come from? Because there are people that I know come from Portugal, and they have a mixture of many different countries, but they were born, raised in America, and now they're American. Yeah. So does that make you American? Or does that make you like South Africa?
So the thing is, you know, I'm very connected to America.
Right.
My husband's from there, and I've been there, and I've been to Texas, I've been to New York, I've been to Florida, I've been to like a lot of states, Washington, you know, so I've seen a lot of states, and I've met a lot of people from the states. And then the thing is that, you know, the more I talk to people from different backgrounds, the more I realize, you know, what's going on nowadays with all the conversations, you know, everything, like, this is the issue. I think because I don't want to talk about things that I am not
sure,
you know, because I don't want to basically be dumb and just talk about things that I don't have facts or know about. So I'm just going to talk about things that I have seen firsthand and my opinion on some things, but that's it. You know, I don't want to go places where I'm not supposed to go because I'm not qualified to go, basically. So I've met people from around the States a lot, and I've heard different conversations, and I've seen in my newsfeed and the, you know, the talks and everything and the news and everything. So, like you said, America is built by, you know, different people. Right. You know, there's a big percentage of people who live there from few years or maybe generations that came from different, you know, places of the world. There's a reason, you know, there was a saying, living the American dream. Because America gave you that opportunity for you to have everything. You know, so back in the day, let's say in my country, I couldn't find a good job. I couldn't, you know, in America gave you that. Right. The issue I have is that if there's a country, I think America is the only country in this world who said, come, I will help you. I will, you know, live the American dream back in the days, right? And then people went and then they would like disrespect the culture or like, you know, keep your culture where I said, but respect the other's home. You know, you've heard
mostly the native Indians.
Yeah. So you've heard a lot of videos where they say, you don't belong to America, go to your own country, you know, like that and this. That's crazy to me because if you ask somebody, go do a DNA test. Girl. You know, check where you're from. Nobody's from there except Indians, right?
Yeah, the native Indians. Yeah.
Then Christopher Columbus came. That's not a secret. That's a literature we learn at school how U.S. was created, you know. But okay. you know, it's okay. That was the history that happened. Now we're here. How to make ourselves better. And then
Right.
I truly, you know, I see this people who live there generation on generation and on generation, and they have their culture. They have a culture. It's their culture to have. And then there's people going in and saying, your culture doesn't exist. My culture is better. This is where you disrespect the guest, the host, you know? And it doesn't matter how that host got their culture. It doesn't matter. That is not your business. Your business is that you're going to somebody's house and disrespecting the house. And then nowadays with everything happening, you know, people are screaming and going insane. And it's like, yeah, but would you allow somebody come to your country and do everything some people do there?
Good question.
Right?
Good question.
So just because a house opened windows and doors for you,
Good question.
and let you crash over for a month because you were in a bad place and now you want to stay there longer and longer and longer. Okay. But you got to start paying rent.
Yep.
You got to start
Doing the right thing.
doing cleaning once a week, or I don't know, doing your own chores around the house to keep that house going if you're living there long term, right? You have to learn the rules of the house. You have to, then yes, you can talk about your culture, you can wear your culture, you can live by your culture, but you have to help the host, you know, because you're living there.
Right.
So you have to help. And it's not fair for you to go in the attic and live there and then not pay anything and act like, you know, you
own the place.
Yeah, you own the place, and that's not fair. So basically, like I said, I'm not going to go further because I don't, you know,
Yeah.
it's a very
sensitive
topic, and I live by my words and I live by my beliefs. And the thing is that I want to respect every, you know, opinion there is out there. We can talk about, communicate, but today we're talking about culture only, and I just, you know, want to stop it here.
And there's another sensitive topic which two of my friends were talking about, South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
There was the Africans who were from South Africa, and then you have the Dutch, right?
Yeah.
So right now, after generation and generation, there's a lot of Dutch people who are now called Afrikaans.
Yeah.
Afrikaans, I think. Afrikaans.
Afrikaans. Okay.
Yeah, they are called Afrikaans. It's with a K, but not a C.
Okay.
But it's a sensitive topic because people kind of feel like the Dutch people are not Africans because of their generations.
Yeah.
And Black people feel that they took a lot from them. But there are the Black people who feel that if Dutch people never came,
Yeah.
the economy wouldn't have been where it is right now, because I think South Africa is like, it has a good economy, if I'm not wrong, based on both the Blacks and the Dutch people coming together. But that's another sensitive topic.
Yeah, that's a big topic we have to dive in. But I see what you're saying. You know, I don't, like me, I said two things, and they're very similar, so I don't want to get taken wrongly.
Right.
Yes, you keep your culture wherever you go. Speak your tongue. Speak your language.
Right.
Share with people the values of your culture. At the same time, respect somebody's culture.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where me and you speak the language, different tongue, right? At home, I speak Albanian, and then let's say we have our friend Moroccan. She comes and speaks half French, half Arabic, and then we have an American who speaks English, right? English is the second language on the entire world, not just this, you know, some places, but the entire world. It's the most known language in the world, and then we're all four of us together, right? We can be in the States, we can be in Africa, we can be here, wherever you want. Put us in your mind wherever you want. And then now, imagine if, let's say I speak a little bit of French, and me and my friend start speaking in French, and now you don't understand what we're saying, she doesn't understand what we're saying, and then you're like in the table just looking at us like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So you know, we went out so many times with different, like Filipino and like different cultures. What language we all talk together?
English.
And that's not something you say like, oh, you know, we talk English. And not one moment did I turn to talk to my friend who speaks French and I speak French, and I get, you know, something, because then you will feel offended.
Right.
And that's just culture.
Right.
That's respect.
Right.
So the third person in your table doesn't feel
left out,
right, offended,
right,
or, you know, like, because if you do that, then I'm gonna take it as disrespect.
Yeah.
So we all have to talk a language we all understand.
Yeah.
Because we live in an expat country, and there's not two people in one table who speak almost the same, maybe two, but more than that, no. So we have to speak all English, right?
Right.
So this is the thing, like, you can keep, I bring my culture, I show you my culture, but at the same time, I respect, you know, the culture I'm staying at. We don't talk bad. We're Christians. We don't talk bad about Muslims.
No.
We stay with Moroccan or like Lebanon and, or like, you know, people, or like Qatari people, because it's their culture.
Yeah.
And we live in their house.
Right. You have to respect
their
it.
house.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Integrate in their house.
I agree.
And pay, you know, play by the rules and pay a little bit of rent and pay some groceries, and, you know, like, because in the end of the day, if we weren't, So I don't know if I'm making any sense.
No, yes, girl. You are. Like, so, I can back you up by saying, since we are here, we need to respect them. At the end of the day, we came here to work.
Yeah.
We came here to better our lives.
Yeah.
And the best thing we can do in return is to say thank you by respecting.
So it's the same anywhere you go.
Yeah, anywhere you go.
Anywhere you go. You can go to the States, you can go to France, you can go to Germany, Ireland, Dutch, anyway.
Ireland, girl.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I know. I want to go there one day. But the point is, keep yours, respect the other.
Right.
You know? Keep your culture, respect the other's culture.
And never forget where you come from.
Yes. So, for today, I think we talked enough.
We talked way enough, but I appreciate everyone for coming in.
Yeah, so what we're going to try to do from maybe next week.
Right.
Because we're coming back on Sunday to talk a very interesting topic. But from next week, we're going to start choosing subtopics.
Right.
So we can go more in the details. And please stay with us. And if you like us, please follow us and comment,
like share.
So yeah, we're new podcasters, and you know, I think we're doing great, right?
Yeah, we're doing good.
Thank you guys for sticking up with us, and please, you know, like we said, give us some follow, likes, and support us. And see you on Sunday.
See you on Sunday.
This is Life Unscripted.
Yo,
Deborah and Lalu.
Yes, there you go, girl. Peace out.
Bye.